excitingly scary. That's what Acapella thought while contorting her body into impossible positions. She was never a big fan of attention, but the gasps will suffice for her fear. She never really wanted to be in the spotlight, but for some reason, a lot of people liked her act, even some kids. She was starting to like attention a bit more, but one day, the daily shows stopped. Their ringmaster was nowhere to be seen. It was oddly quiet, until the same day, a few hours later, another man walked into the tent addressing himself as their new ringmaster. His name was C. Dimitri. Acapella felt some sort of deja vu upon hearing the name, but for now, she just shrugged it off as nothing. But then, Gauze, the clown, and the most beloved out of the troupe, spoke up.
Why are you stopping the daily shows? We're used to it.
Acapella agreed silently, nodding her head a bit at Gauze. Then Dimitri spoke up.
Oh, I have something prepared for all of you, especially you, clown.
Solar, the daredevil of the group, then said,
Actually, his name is Go.
Dimitri then sternly cuts him off.
Now you don't talk back to me. Got that? Fireball?
All of the troopers' eyes widen, including Acapella's. How could he know about the incident? She quickly shook it off as Dimitri says to follow him. The troopers do as Dimitri guides them into a white-tiled place with what looks like dried blood on the walls, and also what looked like cages lined up against one another except for one that was off to the side, and what seemed to be TVs inside of said cage, and what was possibly the biggest one of the cages. Dimitri then explained that they'll be staying there for a few weeks to be safe? Why would they need to be safe? Acapella then gets harshly pushed into a cell, and once she got back up, she noticed what seemed to look like a chain attached to a weighted ball in the corner of the cell, and what looked like a saw in the middle of the floor. Acapella wondered why that was there, but at the same time, didn't want to know. Acapella looked around a bit in the cell, finding a hidden camera above her to her right. She didn't know what it was there for, or why it was even there, but before she could investigate further, Dimitri entered her cell. A wicked smile plastered on his face as he speaks.
Now listen here, you little shit. You better be obedient now.
He says, very sternly, as he continues to approach Acapella, closing the cell gate behind him as he continues to speak.
Put your ankle in the cuff attached to that. Fun little weight there.
Acapella nervously says,
Why?
Dimitri's smile fades as quick as a snap as he angrily responds back, getting in her face and practically just spitting in her face.
Put it in the cuff.
Acapella doesn't do anything because she was scared and genuinely didn't want to do it. So Dimitri got impatient and grabs her hair and forcefully dragging her to the corner of the room where the weighted ball and the cuff resided. Acapella resisted and desperately repeating,
Stop! It hurts!
And getting angry responses from Dimitri as he tries to put her ankle inside the cuff.
If you would have listened, it wouldn't have gone this way, crybaby.
After a few minutes of struggle, Acapella gives up and Dimitri finally puts her ankle in the cuff. Dimitri, in response to her resistance, puts it on her very tightly. And as a response to the tightness, Acapella winces a bit as he replies darkly.
What, gonna cry? You cry, baby. Go on then, cry. See what happens.
As he says this, he, again, gets way too close to Acapella's face as her eyes tear up a bit as she timidly says,
Why are you doing this to me?
He replies quickly, the same amount of malice in his voice.
Simple. I own all of you, and you're freaks of friends now. And there is no one who's going to stop me, or what's going to happen to you and your friends.
He says as he punches Acapella's eye. It almost immediately bruises and blackens. Acapella cries a bit as he does this, and speaks again very angrily.
Oh, will you stop crying? That noise is so helplessly stupid! You stupid crybaby!
He yells, and then gets an idea.
I think I know how to stop you from crying and what to do with you.
He says, his returning malice covering his wicked face as he punches Acapella straight in the nose, her head harshly hitting the wall behind her as she is easily knocked out. While Acapella was knocked out, he experimented on her eyes, removing her tear glands permanently, removing her ability to cry. Doing this made her eyes more raw, insensitive, and more prone for bugs to be attracted to them. Another thing he did while she was out was he got Acapella's #1 fan, a teenage girl around her age, 18, and brings her there, saying it's a special surprise meet and greet for such a special fan. And once he brought her there, he woke up Acapella with smelling salts. The girl didn't really think that much about where she was or why, but she was really excited to meet her. Acapella, after learning that she was her #1 fan and that she was here, made her worry. Then, from behind the girl, Dimitri holds a knife right above her head, as Acapella quickly says shakily,
Behind you!
The fan quickly turns around, confused, until stab. Dimitri plunges the knife straight into her heart, killing the girl instantly, her blood getting everywhere, even on Acapella. This action makes all Acapella scream a bit as Dimitri just laughs and says,
Ah, music to my ears. Now, we aren't done here with your #1 fan.
He says as he drags her dead body towards the saw in the middle of the room, and by a switch on the wall, turns it on. As Dimitri positions the body perfectly so that the arms could get cut off perfectly with a precision cut, he slowly and expertly hammerheads and saws off one of the arms, making more blood from her dead body pool and splatter everywhere. Acapella watches all of this from the corner, terrified, blood all over her as Dimitri puts the arm on a wheeled drawer beside him as he flipped the body around to position it perfectly to cut the fan's other arm off. And once he was done, puts it beside the other one and just tosses the rest of the body to the opposite corner to where Acapella was, so that way the body could slowly rot, and wheels the drawer toward Acapella, making her even more scared and shiver. And he once again quickly punches her straight in the nose as her head hits the wall behind her hard again, the back of her head now starting to bleed a little as she's knocked out again. While she was out, he cut out holes in her current suit below her arms, and skillfully cut out skin to match the circles of the cut-off arms, and just in case, chained up Acapella's upper arms so that way she wouldn't struggle as much. As he carefully attached the right severed arm in the place of the bare muscle on Acapella's side, he made sure to attach the muscles, veins, and tendons of the arm to Acapella's side. That way, she would be able to move and control the arm as if it were her own. As Dimitri finishes this, he started to slowly stitch the arm onto the bare of her side. Whenever he got halfway stitching it, Acapella started to stir awake. Whenever she was starting to fully wake up, she felt this repeated motion on the side of her below her right arm. She was being stitched? Then before she could move or say anything, Dimitri spoke up quickly and harshly.
Ah. I wouldn't move too much if I were you, crybaby. I'm stitching you. Can't you feel it? Wouldn't want your injury getting worse now, do we?
He says evilly as he painfully and slowly continued, stitching the arm onto her side fully. And after he was done with one arm, he pulled out his scalpel again, making Acapella even more scared whenever she was awake. Her eyes crying bloody tears, since her actual tear glands were gone. She started crying bloody tears, but she does it silently, not wanting to make him any more angry than he probably is, as Dimitri spoke again.
Now be still or I might accidentally cut your muscles.
He says as he skillfully cuts another circle to fit the left severed arm. As he grabbed the arm, more of Acapella's bloody tears start trickling onto her clothes down her neck. As Dimitri grabbed the severed arm, and he started to connect the tendons, veins, and muscles onto her bare muscle again, as he did with the right arm. The cold, chilling air hit her bloody face and side, making her shiver and cry more harder and more violent. Not really wanting to get hurt more than she already is. As Dmitri finishes connecting the arm and circle wound together, he again started to stitch them together. A few minutes later, he was done, and at this point, Acapella was completely passed out from both exhaustion and blood loss. Dmitri expected nothing less as he went into another cell to start working on another trooper. A few hours later, Acapella woke up. She was confused, to say the least. She was confused, hurting, and tired. But she knew well enough not to fall asleep. Not here, and not now. She rubbed her eyes sleepily, but immediately woke up fully to the sound of both Dmitri and Alex's voice in the next cell over.
You know I heard her, right? I heard her screams.
Dmitri cut off Alex quick.
You're quite the listener, aren't you, apprentice?
Alex quickly responded back.
I am not your apprentice!
Dmitri chuckled evilly and angrily spoke back.
Pity.
And after he said that, all that was heard was a scream. Alex gets what sounded like punched, and then nothing was heard from him afterwards. Acapella quickly shivered with fear, speaking quietly to herself.
Oh God, Alex, please be okay.
She quickly balled herself up until she felt another set of arms wrap around her. She was confused until she looked down at her torso to see for her to have another set of arms? What? No. It has to be a dream. Or maybe she was hallucinating? She quickly pinched herself. Not a dream. She moved her extra set of arms. Not a hallucination. She was scared. Horrified even. She didn't know what to do or what to even think. She started to hyperventilate a lot and used her arms to hide herself and try to wake up, or no. She had to live with it. And she had to think positively, somewhat. She calmed herself down to the best she could and just waited, silently listening and hearing everything. Every scream, every word Demetria said, all of the pleading, all of the hits, all of the blood she heard be splattered everywhere. She has cried many bloody tears, and feared for what horrors Dmitri was putting the others through. It must have been awful because of all the screams and cries she's heard. It's to the point that the body of her number one fan in the corner has begun to rot and smell awful. She waited and waited for someone or something to let her and her friends out. A few months or weeks or hell, maybe a year later, she has been balled up in her cell, the body almost completely bone. Maggots and worms having consumed it, until she heard a click. She shakily sat up and was surprised to be face to face with not Dmitri, but Alex. She shakily exhaled, scared but relieved, as Alex speaks.
Hey, Pella. Ready to finally get out of here? He took gauze somewhere and I snuck the keys from his pocket. Ready to get out of here?
He says as he gently extends his hand towards Acapella, her back still facing him. As he gently turned around and gently takes one of her hands to grab his to help her up, then she realized something and quickly spoke up, her voice trembling and shaky and a bit rough from her bloodied cries.
What about Gus?
She says as she gently stands up, as Alex is the first to see Acapella's gift from Dmitri, looking a little shocked, then responding, but not commenting on her arms.
You'll see real soon.
Acapella nods nervously as he lets out the other two troopers, Tilly and Stoller. Once they see each other, they hug very tightly. Acapella looks at them. She was happy, but wasn't smiling. Not after all she's been through. As Stoller turns to see Acapella, he immediately noticed her arms and comments nicely.
Yo, cool arms, fella.
don't want to know how he did that to you, but hey, more tricks for you.
Acapella knew he meant it nicely. As she timidly says,
Thanks.
Tilly quickly speaks for Solar's behalf.
Don't mind him. If you've heard, he's a bit of a flame brain.
Solar nudges Tilly playfully, but the reunion was quickly shut down by the sound of gunshots coming from where the tent is. They went out of the facility and towards the tent to hear the sound of a child crying and pleading, and then a sudden gunshot. But they couldn't investigate, as they had to hide because they started to hear his voice approach towards the facility.
Wow, you showed them, clown. Really gave them a show. Now, follow me back to your Hey, wait! Where in the hell are all of your freaks of friends?
Then, after Dimitri turned around to face Gauze, he struck and, with full power and brute force, started to stab Dimitri over and over, his blood getting everywhere. Acapella sees this, and for once in a very long time, she starts to crack a smile and laugh. A full-on laugh that makes the other troopers' spines shiver. But for Gauze, he was way too focused on ending Dimitri. Everything that fills the halls were Dimitri's now gagged screams and maniac laughter coming from Acapella. Finally, knowing that after Gauze slit his throat, she knew that they were actually forever free.